Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna bring the Crown Vic front end in the garage and stick it under the Durango, but we gotta dig it out of the snow first, and I don't know how we're gonna get it in the garage. I currently don't have a Jeep with a winch. I usually just winch this kind of stuff up with my Jeeps, but I sold that Liberty. Looking back now, that little winch on that Liberty was quite helpful around the house. But back to the Crown Vic front end. I got this Badland jack right here, a little helper. Well, we're gonna pull those wheels off. That should make it a little bit lighter, and we will try to get this in the garage. We got the wheels off, got the Badland jack, got my helper. Let's get this baby in the garage. Well, after a lot of grunting and heaving and using our knees, we got the front end in the garage. Still full of snow, so let's slide that front end underneath the Durango. We got the front end under the burnout beater, the Durango, and this is the part where we need to start using our thinker, do some measurements, and see if we can get this thing centered under the frame. Just eyeballing it right now. The frame is looking a little too wide for the Crown Vic front. So I think the best plan of attack would be to take these fenders off, and we get a better visual and try to jack that front end up a little bit closer to the frame. See what else we got to cut, mod, add, delete to make the Crown Vic front end work. I usually like to do the least amount of work as I have to. So me taking these front fenders off, I don't want to do that, but I think it's probably the best plan of attack. So let's see if these rusty fenders come off, and then we can have a better idea of what's going on here. Well, it's been a couple days since you've seen me last. Actually, just a couple seconds for you guys. But we got these brackets cleaned up good enough on the frame. Now we need to see where this Crown Vic front will fit on the frame. We have a couple obstacles in our way. One is the frame kind of jaunts out here a little bit, so we have that in consideration. We have to see where the oil pan sits on the engine for the cross member of the axle and the steering shaft. So we got to see where the steering shaft's going to be, make sure that's not in the way of the motor mounts or the frame, so we can have steering. So we got to take these top brackets off the Crown Vic front end and see what it will take to get this moved up to see where we are sitting and make sure this works or not, because I've never seen anyone do this mod before on a Durango frame. So this might be the first. If it's not the first, someone please share that with me, because I would like to see what kind of troubles, or if they were even able to get a Crown Vic front under their Durango. All right, let's take those brackets off. Well, we got a mad case of Jenga going on right now. Got 4 jack stands, a Badland jack. The power steering rack is up against the motor mount, so we gotta shift it over a little bit. First we gotta lower it. See if we can come forward. Titch bit. I don't want you guys calling Jenga on me. Gotta master this puzzle. Let me show you what's going on here. Got the power steering lines. This one that comes up wants to get caught on everything. And then on the back side, we have the steering shaft coming out of the power steering rack, which looks like it's, whoa, I'll play Jenga, which is up against our motor mount right now. Try to get in here as well. See how it jaunts down? So ideally we want to be on a flat spot was kind of my fear, putting this front end under, because you do need a flat frame. That's why it works in a lot of those 50s frames, because they're flat. This frame is a little too modern for this application. We might have to be doing some frame cutting if we want to move this front end up. Either that or we bend that tube and then kind of push it back where it was. I'm kind of thinking that right now is bending that tube and putting it back where it was. Let's do that. Well, I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that, but the tube just spun. So now it's down out of the way. Jack this Crown Vic front end up. See what happens. Up and away. We're up against something. What are we up against now? Probably the... So we're getting closer. We're probably maybe 2 inches away from bottoming out on the frame. But there's that little sensor that's in our way on the rack. So I gotta see what I gotta do to take that off, because I don't think we'll need it. So I'm gonna probably lower it down a little bit and take that little sensor off. And then on the other side, there's that bracket that you can see I already cut right there. That bracket was for the front differential. But now where the factory mount is for the motor on the Crown Vic is hitting that bracket. So I'll have to get the plasma torch out and nip that bracket down a little bit. I could unbolt it, but it bolts to the motor mount. So I'd have to pull the motor mount bolts. I don't want to do that. So we'll torch it off. So let me do those couple things and see if we can get that front end back up and closer to where we want it. Because I think if we get it back maybe an inch or so and up 2 inches, that's where it will live. And hopefully that all works out. Well, we did some things. Got the cutter out, our little buddy. Which you hear this from a lot of guys, but I don't know how I lived without a plasma cutter. That was super easy to cut that bracket. So there's the little bracket that we cut off. That's all we needed to cut off. Hopefully. I don't know, we'll see here. We cut it off. Right there, you can see the fresh cut on that mount. So we'll see if this guy clears to that guy. And we did a little rack therapy. We took this guy off, which it's like a low profile union joint or something like that, people were saying on the interwebs. But you can see there's a factory little bend to it, and it's offset for a low angle or something that was called. So we ditched that. Then we ditched this hoodaddly, and then we cut off the nipple. So not sure if that's gonna leak or cause any issues in the future, but that's future me. I couldn't find anything on the interwebs saying what that did. And the aftermarket racks that you can buy don't even have that on there, so. Let's move this up and see what else we hit. Guess what? I found another bracket in our way. If you crawl under here with me, you will see another one of those front axle brackets. Yep, right there, up against our Crown Vic front end. So I'm gonna have to get the torch and torch this section out. Well, it's a new day. I left you guys last night and we got the Crown Vic front suspension suspended underneath the front, and we got it measured out. So the next step is to make some marks, pull the Crown Vic front end back down, and drill some holes. See if we can get this Crown Vic under this Durango. The problem is I picked up a cold and I can barely talk. I don't even know how this sounds on the video right now, but I'm not gonna do a whole lot of talking. Just gonna pull that front back down and drill some holes, and hopefully we get that mounted up. And I gotta get this video out to you guys in a couple days, so I still gotta edit it, go to my normal job, and then get this video out to you guys on Wednesday at 6. So that's me done talking now, probably until the outro. If If you have luck like I do with drill bits, here's the one you need. It's the Hercules, that stepper bit that you can buy at Harbor Freight. That bit is legit. I've drilled so many holes with it, and it just keeps working. All those other stepper bits you can get at Harbor Freight, garbage. And a lot of other drill bits that I have, garbage. This one didn't take long. Went to the next stepper bit that I had, a bigger size. For these big old bolts I have to go through the front Crown Vic. Not the Hercules, by the way. Well, after some redneck engineering, we got our first bolt through the frame. So the frame has an indent, of course, where we have to put the bolts for the Crown Vic. Some stepper bit action, my favorite bit. Drilled 3 of those with a pry bar. Made a little peekaboo window because the indent in the frame is up against the bolt. So now I just have to do the little peekaboo window 3 more times. That one's right in the weld, so don't know how I feel about that. Put that stepper bit back to work. Try to get the rest of these 4 bolts in. I would like to have a roller at the end of this video. I do have one bent rim. Fighting a cold, so we'll see how this goes. We'll keep at it.